Alright, so a lot of people have been saying that this is one of the hardest MOCs we've ever had, and I kinda don't agree. The top side has the DOT Manta Ray, but it also has Gepard, and it is one of the easiest zero cycles I have seen since I started actually taking zero cycling seriously. And so, in this video, we are going to be doing just 6 completely random teams, or not random teams, but 6 teams that are all capable of zero cycling Gepard on my account. This is ignoring the existence of Lygus on the other side. That is a lot tougher for me to do. And as a result, there are less teams that I could do it with. Excuse the loads on the cast run here. My PC's hard drive has been acting up. So, and this was the first run I did after the boot. So, this is going to be Castorice, Evernight solo, Blade, Feixiao, DOT using Robin. You will see a different DOT line in the actual full zero cycle video, and Artoria. Now, this video and the real zero cycle are probably both coming out tomorrow, as in the Sunday before the MOC reset. Then the MOC reset will come out on Monday. Then I have the anomaly arbitration stuff recorded. I have the footage already. The issue now comes from I need to get together the editing, and that's going to be tough. I probably could have done this, or I realistically definitely could have done this with Cass using RMC over March, if you want to cut down the cost by 2. None of these are really low-cost runs, and you're probably going to argue with, like, Blade, especially Blade. But 4 of these use Tribbie. 3 of these use Hyacine. 3 of these use my E6 Robin. 1 uses Huohuo, and 1 uses Aventurine for sustains, and then 1 uses Heng. Like, there were a few units that I got really close to doing this with. Yunli was really close, and Enya would theoretically be close if I could afford a sustain, but I'm not used to optimal Enya rotations. I learned it for Apocalyptic Shadow. That's another thing that as soon as I remember my cast line, I want to get an AS showcase out in the next few days too, because I have hit my highest score ever in this Apocalyptic Shadow. And that is the Castorice zero cycle. Now, on to DPS March. I have a potentially hot take with DPS Evernight. It's the same build. We're just going to speed through these. I'm going to do that with a lot of these units, because it's a lot of the same units. I think DPS Evernight is better than Cass at equal investment. Granted, my March is E0S1 as opposed to my E2S1 Cass, so my Cass is going to outperform. This is another thing I want to do is a hot takes video, updated for like later in Amphorius. I would say, in my opinion, Cass at E0 is no longer part of the big 3 of the patch cycle. And at E2, she's probably 3rd. I think Cass has the best 48 cost team in the game, but that's kind of it, and even then, she's sharing that team with March. March has been a lot of fun so far. I haven't really been playing her a ton as a carry because it's easier to just throw her with Cass. I still don't like the concept of using her together with Cass. I don't like dual DPS setups. I've been saying this since the days of Jingliu Blade in 1.x. And I still need to actually, like, look into her kit so I can understand it a little better. Because I feel like I don't understand what determine... Or I don't understand how many stacks she gets off of her skill. I understand like, Eddie gets to 16 stacks and then booms. That part makes sense, but... yeah. And sometimes her damage is pitiful, sometimes it's through the roof. March is a unit that I don't understand mechanically super well yet, but I also kind of haven't needed to this patch because she's in such a... like, I believe March is probably the second best DPS in the game at E2, and either second or third at E0. She's really good. I've really enjoyed her. I would have preferred if she leaned more into being a carry than being a hybrid sub-DPS. But I also would have preferred if Cyrene was good. We'll talk about that later. My pull plans for next patch, I want to get E0S1 Cyrene minimum, and I want to get E0S1 Cypher. That's my goals. I might take E2 Topaz from the shop because there's a spending event, which means that I will still have a Golden Companion Spirit, even if I do take 2 Topazes. Topaz being added to the shop is actually pretty cool. She was always a unit I really wanted to go vertical on. If she became accessible, I would have put her in my 50-50 pool immediately, and if she ever went to the shop, I would have probably bought E1, or at least E1. And now she's in the shop, and we're getting an extra free 5-star with that addition to the shop. So I'll probably be putting her to E2. And ideally, I'll get to test Topaz versus Cypher, because that's another team that I don't love the feel of on paper, is Feixiao Cypher. But Cypher would be really important for my account. I don't think I need E1 Hyacine. I don't need more Cascons. I don't need E2 Tribbie. I don't care about getting Finon. I don't care about getting Maide. The one tough thing is I want Cyrene Eidolons, but those might not happen. It really depends on my luck and how, like, the spending event needs to go. And I still want E2 Artoria, but we still... that banner has lasted longer than people who couldn't read the thing about Enya being free realized, so... I think I've got time. 3.8 second half might be the most likely time for me to do that, because I don't know if I'm going to want to go for 4.0 units. It's going to depend on the drip. So that was the March 0 cycle. Now it's time for the one that I saw a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago. Someone tweeted like, oh, I can't believe I fell for it thrice with Blade, Donhong IL, and Finon. Basically saying, I can't believe these units are so bad already, like, immediately after their release. I don't understand what people like this are talking about, because Finon is great. He has his problems with optimizing at E0, but he's still a free clear button at E0. And if you don't care about zero cycling, he is probably the best DPS in the game at E0, maybe in AXA, maybe March, depending on who you ask. At E2, he is bar none the best DPS in the game. Donhong, especially at E2, was the best DPS in the game for his era. And Blade, I would argue, is a meta DPS. Blade, like, my Jingliu, which, same investment as my Blade, same exact cost on the team. I'd say my Jingliu build is pretty solid. All it's missing is an HP chest over crit damage. My Jingliu couldn't do this side, and I know this side is ice resistant, but my March just did it. But Blade is going to zero cycle off elements. This is 1.2 standard unit. And he's unironically one of the best units on my account. I have yapped about my Blade to no end. I lose all my 50-50s to Aglaia to him. I lost my 50-50 for Artoria E1 to him. Artoria is not even the best wind destruction with a pseudonym based on a sword in her patch, because Blade exists. Blade is so busted, honestly. The more I use this unit, the more I realize, like, this is This is ridiculous. Blade is just absurdly powerful and absurdly underrated. If you have pulled Blade from losing a 50-50, I highly, highly, highly recommend building him, especially if you have this comp. I know people will argue, oh, you're using Hyacine, you're using Tribbie, you're using Sunday. That's a wheelchair comp. I don't think wheelchair is like a valid complaint, because the supports should exist to support. And, like, Blade is Hyacine's best recipient. Tribbie works really well with Blade because she likes HP scalers on the team. And, I mean, a lot of units don't hate Sunday. And you probably have Sunday already if you play, I mean, basically anything. Unless you play, like, exactly Cass Herda and only Cass Herda or something of the sort. Like, you came off of, like, Acheron Break or Feixiao Break and came into, like, Herda Cass, you probably have Sunday at this point. So, if you have a Blade lying around, you're a Cass player, or a March player, or a Might A player, build your Blade. If you have any other HP scaler on your account, build Blade. And he will kind of blow you out of the water with how good he is. For some reason, I found a lot of success using wind DPS on this side. Half of the clears here are wind DPS. There's a wind unit on every single team in this video, but wind DPS were really successful. I might need to stop for water here for a second. I've been talking for 12 minutes straight. I have a sore on the bottom of my tongue, and it really hurts to talk for elongated periods of time. But I have to record, like, over half an hour of commentary tonight. So, excuse me for 1 second. Okay. So the Blade run. Honestly, like, all of these units can just kind of brute force through the Manta Ray. I know the Manta Ray is annoying to a lot of people, but it's not... It's honestly not that bad. And you're going to see in the Anomaly Arbitration video, I managed to zero-cycle the DOT stage of Anomaly Arbitration without using DOT. I use DOT in the main set of runs, but I will include a bonus clip of zero cycling with Artoria. Don Heng, he's one of my least favorite characters, but Don Heng PT has been already a very high value unit, even if I'm only really using him with Artoria right now. He is incredibly worthwhile to build. His light cone options are a little sketch. I'm on a very mid option. I'm on the Battle Pass cone, where his attack is like half of what it should be, but he's still doing his job. Excuse me. Now we're going into Feixiao. Feixiao, I'm hoping that E2 Topaz is actually like a notable bump, so I can stop just throwing Tribbie on the team. Although Tribbie actually does have pretty good synergy with Feixiao because she does follow-up attacks, and she gives Feixiao a little bit of much-needed AoE. We're also using Aventurine here instead of Don Heng, just so I can show that he's not power crept. I think I did in the first place. I did this before Don Heng came out. But also, like, might as well show that power creep isn't all that. Feixiao's still really, really high performer. She's consistently one of my best units for zero cycles. I would say she is probably my second most consistent DPS behind Cass, even to this day. And that is... I don't even have E2 on Feixiao, I only have E1. Which does actually add up to a lot of damage throughout a run because it makes all of her ults stronger. But without the E2, the frequency of those ults is completely normal. So, it's not like she's that crazy. Like, E1 Feixiao is a very, very good unit, and I don't regret getting her E1, but it's still night and day between E1 and E2 Feixiao. I kind of play the start of this wave a little bad by putting the first bit of, like, I waste an ult here trying to build skill points and kill without an ult. I played this wave pretty poorly, but doesn't really end up mattering. I think Feixiao has the second most comfortable clear in terms of actions. Behind behind Cass. And Cass is my premium E2 modern DPS. I am scared of Cass getting filtered out, in the coming rotations. I don't think creator server access for Cyrene is out yet, so I don't think we have officially seen the 3.7 MOC, the one after next. The next one, I don't know, I'm probably just gonna throw, like, Cass Feixiao at it. Flame Reaver on top. I think we've seen this in early access videos for Don Hung. It looks like a manageable Cass Feixiao angle. 3.7, I'm not going to say anything about, but it seems kind of tough. I don't know who the blessings are going to shill, because there's 3 DPS running next patch, and also Cyrene. And if you laugh, Iron Tomb actualizes, so I don't know. 3.7 MOC, we'll find out in about a month and a half. And then Constance comes out after that. And speaking of neglected archetypes, DOT, I struggled really hard to put together to replicate the Ruan Mei line when I did this earlier to get footage for the actual Zero Cycle video, because I wanted to do no Remembrance for that. But for this run, I just used Robin, and with Robin, DOT is really good on my account. This is my highest cost team that I own. As a DOT fan, or not necessarily, or yeah, I can call myself a fan. I still believe that you should be using, in order, Vertical Robin, or it's like Vertical Black Swan, Vertical Robin, E1 Ruan Mei, E0 Black Swan, E0 Robin, or E0... I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think Robin, if you're sub E2, is no longer worth using on DOT. DOT has some weird routing, like Hysilens often has to normal to pick what Kafka actually detonates into, instead of setting multiple DOTs with her skill, and Huohuo Robin energy management will always be weird, because you want Robin to have the Huohuo attack buff, but you also don't want to waste Huohuo energy, especially on Robin, where that energy will add up, especially on a kind of low action team like this, where you only have one source of follow-up attacks. I'm probably going to have to switch to the stupid Eagle set Kafka build soon. I really, really don't want to. My Kafka is E2S1 from her launch. I got her E2 when she first came out, and I really don't want to... I don't want to take off the S1, and I don't want to turn her into just an Eagle driver, but... I don't know, DPS Kafka's starting to show a little bit of a hitch. And I'm not loving it, but this clear is relatively clean.
Say bye to breathing.
Tutorial energy would be nice, and I do always love that you can detonate through Gepard's shield, because the detonation does not come from the actual hit itself. I don't entirely know how the detonation layering works, but it's interesting. Hysilens' energy is also, like, it never feels like it gets filled in the way it should from using Huohuo's ult, because she has a 110 cost ult, which is insanely low. 22% of, or 20% of that is, what, 100 and, or it's like 22. So she's only getting 22 energy per Huohuo ult, which is less than, that's less than a skill gives, which is kind of abnormal. And then this one was the hardest to replicate, the Artoria Zero Cycle. Using her with Dan Heng so she can get the full boost from Sunday. I don't know why this was so hard for me to replicate tonight. It took a lot of routing, a lot of trying to remember my route. I basically had to reroute this from scratch tonight. And this is the debut of Dan Heng PT on this channel. Not one of my favorite characters, but he's free, so I built him, and he's actually already putting in work. Now, I obviously built every other free unit we've gotten. I built Dr. Ratio, even though I didn't like him either, but he filled a niche on my account. And I built Amiya because I'm a Fate fan, and I was always going to build every Fate unit. I was going to pull for Gilgamesh if it was Artoria and Gilgamesh. So the routing here is weird. Artoria routing is always weird. We're actually going to drop, like, multiple ults in this run without having Robin ult up. So we're going to go for skill here. Sunday ult because we can overflow on energy on Artoria. And then advance. We're going to ult so we can get an EVA here instead of an enhanced skill. And then after this EVA, we're going to Robin ult so the Manta Ray can't summon its ads and go into the damage reduction mode. Dan Heng's going to just contribute okay damage because he's getting boosted by Robin. I think we have to burn the Excalibur here. Or, no, the better routing is to not burn it here, I believe. Because Artoria can just overflow on energy, so it makes more sense to carry as much, just everything into the next wave. I believe I decide to Excalibur now. Or no, I greed all the way to fucking cap my energy. No, I just pop it now. Because I want to carry as much energy as possible into the next wave.
My strength isn't what it was.
Just so I can get as instantaneous of an ult as possible. And the fish blowing up does not kill the Prider. Or no, wait, this isn't a Prider, this is Champion. We need a skill that gets a full ult here. I believe the weird thing that I was forgetting with my routing is that I need to target Gepard with almost all of Artoria's blasts. Dan Heng can just burn his turn popping the shield, doesn't really matter. I need to trigger, or I need to put blasts into Gepard, because the Manta Ray is going to advance itself enough that it's going to take the converted DOT. And Gepard, like, Gepard does not appreciate being the side target in this team specifically. He's normally fine with it. And then here, we're doing as much as we can before popping the Robin ult, just to try and put as much damage as possible. We're gonna put this full blast into Gepard again. We don't want, we need Gepard to be the single target for the blast targeting. What? Where did my... Hold on. Hold on. I need to pause. So, I apologize. My footage just froze. I have the video open in my editing software right now. And it froze. I guess I just had the video not fully displayed in the timeline or something. But, yeah, we're gonna go for just keep blasting into Gepard. I believe I save my Artoria ult. We let Soul Dragon go, and then just rip the Robin ult. Rip the Excalibur immediately so we can try to build to one more. I don't believe we get it. We're gonna get a Don Hung ult, which is going to matter. It's gonna, even though it's only 42k. I don't even think we get the enhanced... Or no, we do get the enhanced Soul Dragon. Or do we? No, because we get one more Excalibur here. And that's just going to kill outright before the, before Soul Dragon can take action. And that is 6 teams zero-cycling Gepard in what is the quote-unquote most shilled MOC since Pollux, which, honestly, like, this has been one of the most fun chambers to push in a very long time. I played a lot of 3.1 Flame Reaver, but very little of that was zero-cycling. I wasn't able to zero-cycle that until I got E0 or E2 Cass, because I didn't have E1 Tribbie, and a lot of my older units didn't really match up well. But I feel like I was able to bring a lot of units here. This was a fun one. The zero-cycle video will be out today. Anomaly Arbitration soon. See you guys later.